So now let's go up to this guard and see how close we can get before we get shot.
Behind me is Prague's astronomical clock, and it has been ticking since 1410. It is the third oldest clock in the world and one of the oldest working clocks. It doesn't just tell time, it tracks the movement of the sun and moon, shows zodiac signs, and even displays old medieval time tracking system. Every hour, the clock puts on a show as a skeleton representing death rings a bell while figures symbolizing vanity, greed, and foreign invasion react. Above them, the 12 apostles appear in the windows, making it one of the most unique clock performances in the world. Legend has it that Prague's leaders blinded the clockmaker so that he could never build another one. But whether that's true or not, this clock has been wowing crowds for over 600 years, and people still gather here every hour to watch its action.
Check this out. It's known as the Tyn Church here in Prague. And personally, I think it's probably the coolest building, or actually a church, that we have seen. So as far as just churches alone, definitely the coolest. But I think this is personally cooler. I would say it's maybe a tie between this and like the Big Ben. But the Big Ben was like our first iconic site that we ever saw. So it's always gonna be super like sentimental to see that. But the Tyn Church, medieval and scary. It makes it look like, you know, vampires would be living up there, and it's straight out of a movie. It's so cool to be looking at it. It looks like it's under construction right now. Maybe we'll be able to go up there. I'm just imagining like poking my head out of like one of the top. You kind of just picture a castle as just like all along the border that archers can shoot out of and stuff. But in the reality, in my eyes, I think of the castles as like the pointy tops and like moats and stuff like that. So I'm sure we will see that tomorrow, as Prague is known for the world's largest castle. But more on the Tyn Church, I'll stop talking. But it's one of the most stunning landmarks in all of Prague. Built in the 14th century, it's a masterpiece of Gothic architecture, which is Sophia's favorite type of architecture, with the two spires, that's what it's called, towering 262 feet tall. If you look closely, the spires aren't identical. One is slightly bigger, representing the masculine and feminine sides of the world. Tyn Church was actually a stronghold for the Hussites, a rebellious religious group in the medieval Prague period. After they were defeated, the Catholic Church took over and added some Baroque details inside. You'll also find the tomb of Tycho Brahe, a famous astronomer who worked for the emperor here. There's even a legend that Walt Disney took inspiration from Tyn Church for Sleeping Beauty's castle. And honestly, it does look exactly like it should be straight out of a fairy tale. Whether you see it from the square or glowing at night, it's one of the most magical and iconic buildings in all of Prague. And to me, maybe my whole life. Mona Lisa, come to Astronomical Clock.
Yes,
plus
for sure.
It has like, people are clearing out now, but
There was a big crowd.
There was a big crowd.
This is the second Commodore, a hunting bronze statue by Anna Cromi, inspired by Mozart's opera Don Giovanni. It represents the ghostly figure of the murdered Commodore who returns to drag Don Giovanni to his fate. The statue with its empty cloak and eerie presence sits outside the Estates Theatre in Prague, where the opera premiered in 1787.
When in Prague or the Czech Republic, little tip, you could think of it as like 350 CZK, which I think is the Czech crowns, is around $15. So something like this really low number is only like 60 cents. But again, make sure to look at some nutrition scores because this has an E. Probably don't get that. Everything is so cheap.
Yep.
We got 3 baguettes, 2 slices of pizza,
2 things of hummus.
a yogurt drink, 4.
And it came to $120. $5. This whole thing costed $5.
You know, we're eating at a grocery store right now to fill up our stomachs before we go to a restaurant.
So we're like just
so order a
pre-gaming
little,
the restaurant.
yeah. Even though the restaurant's still cheap, but yeah, we just want to have something in there real quick.
Yeah. I'm behind a very normal sized door and we are looking for a cone cinnamon roll and is hopefully a little bit cheap. So yeah, about to go get that. Wow.
We got our spinning donuts of fun. I got chocolate with Nutella.
And I got the sugar and blueberry.
And let's get to it. Live reaction.
A little dry, so you probably wouldn't want to have this with ice cream. We were seeing people eat it with ice cream.
Yeah.
It's all over Jackson's face, so like that's how you know it's good.
Not worth the hype.
But it was
I'll give it like a
cheap,
5.
though.
It literally just tastes like,
It just tastes like bread with sugar on it.
yeah, bread with sugar.
And Nutella for him.
Maybe we could have gotten it from a better place. I don't know.
But it was good. I mean,
not
it was
really worth
sitting
the hype.
out. It was literally sitting out.
This costs like double or triple our dinner. Oh yeah, we're probably not even gonna make it to dinner
Our
now because we're
actual
so
dinner,
full. But we'll update you as the night goes on.
Yeah.
20 minutes away from the Prague Castle, which is the world's largest complex castle. Great day, super sunny. It's gonna be around 60 degrees. So I just have a raincoat on and my thin pants. Great day in Prague. Man, everything is so clean and nice and historic. It's almost like, kind of like Paris with the building styles, but I guess it's probably just European in general. This place is so nice and colorful and clean. It just has a great, safe vibe and everything is so cheap. It's almost like the literal perfect European destination, but we'll see if I still feel that way after Switzerland. Right now I feel like Kevin in Home Alone 2, playing with his camera in the airport while his parents try and rush to make the plane. Our Prague reservation for the castle, Prague Castle reservation, I think is around 11:30. It is 11:09, so we will make it, but I'm trying to spit out some facts real quick. Sophia is not waiting for me though. Since everything is so cheap, I think Sophia plans on getting some perfume. I will probably get an official haircut. As well get some nicer food here because we've only eaten at like 2 restaurants in like a month. So yeah, we should really use Prague to our advantage. Founded over 1100 years ago, Prague was once the capital of the Holy Roman Empire. Currently, we're facing the issue that the castle is so big that we actually have no idea what our ticket even gets us into because there's so many buildings that we don't even know where to go. We have visited a few castles so far on this trip, but all of them have the same general idea that it's just a castle to where the royal family would live and they would be protected there. But the Prague Castle is not just a castle, it's basically a whole city within a city. And so much detail, the spires. Prague, could it get any better? I think the weather is telling the whole story that this is our favorite place. for sure. But anyway, more in the castle. Instead of one big fairy tale looking fortress, it stretches across a massive hilltop. There is a lot of steps, but of course worth it. And this castle stretches covering 70,000 square meters, making it the largest ancient castle complex in the world. From a distance, it looks more like a fortress wall with a village inside rather than just a single building, which is what we are clearly seeing now. Also, I think Starbucks and McDonald's are just making it extremely apparent to just be in every single European city center, because you cannot go to a city center without seeing a Starbucks or McDonald's, which is kind of like lame. Like, I just want to see the cool buildings and not a Starbucks like planted inside an old medieval building. I guess it's cool, but just keep the original buildings original, like just make it a museum. So inside this castle town, you will find St. Vitus Cathedral with its towering Gothic spires, old royal palace, and even little medieval houses in Golden Lane. So now we are trying to get a good spot to see the guard changes at noon. So we are here, trying to sneak into the gate. Tourism. Prague Castle guard change versus Bugs and Ham Castle. Bugs, these events kind of get a little overhyped. I would say the main thing for me is the music.
Yeah. I think the music overall, I mean, the music here was just more instrumental, and then Bugs and Ham was more American music for some reason. Like, we heard a lot of American music, and here it's just...
No, yeah, like, that is true, because well, let's call the official name. Buckingham Palace, we're just joking around. But Buckingham Palace, the music there, it was some like American music on drums and on the trumpets and whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Here, it was much more like military, classic, royal. So music for sure goes to Prague. As far as like the guards' outfits, you can't beat the iconic London hats and stuff like that. But the people here did look really official with, like, you know, their patches and stuff like that. But the London people are just so cool. Weather for sure Prague. Environment for sure Prague. There's way less tourists.
Yeah, plus we got a good view. We got a really cool view. It was a lot closer this time.
I don't know what day it is, but we were at London on a Tuesday at 11 a.m. There was like probably 5,000 people here, maybe 1,000. Yeah. So Prague, better environment. And then animals, no animals here. London's horses were foaming at the mouth, ready to run. Or they were just really hot, or they haven't been fed, who knows. But London, we definitely appreciate those animals. Here did not. So overall, what would we choose? I feel like we were much happier after this one. Also, we had a way better view. Buckingham.
I think because we also
didn't really
came
have a good
early. We
view.
came about 15 minutes early
Yeah.
to this one, so we got a good view. Buckingham, we came late, so
Yeah.
we got a pretty awful view. So if we did come there early, I think it would be a better time. But I guess overall, I guess
or
I would probably still say
Thai?
Buckingham.
yeah.
I think
No, I was thinking that
Buckingham
a
is
little
just
bit.
like
We didn't have the best
classic guard
experience.
change.
We didn't have the best experience at Buckingham Palace because of the amount of tourists, but overall, I would say Buckingham. They just need to step up their music, like
And
have
like,
it a little bit
get
more
those
official.
horses to not foam.
Yeah,
That
and
was
they were
really
throwing up.
uncomfortable.
The horses were throwing up. I don't have a video of it, but yeah. So overall, Buckingham Palace, you still win, but
This is
Prague,
still really cool.
extremely close second.
Yes.
So now let's go up to this guard and see how close we can get before we get shot. Yeah, Sophia's struggling right now emotionally because she doesn't want to treat these guards like animals, and yeah, don't. they're people too. Remember that.
Yeah. Oh my God! Stop.
No, he just gave me a thumbs up. He agrees. He agrees.
Okay.
Don't treat them like animals, and stay away. You don't want to get shot. They take their job seriously.
Yes.
At least they're allowed to wear like nice sunglasses though.
Yeah, I like their sunglasses. I would totally buy them. 10 out of 10 recommend.
Man, this video is gonna be about all the guards, but these guards are official, man. They got the Mall Cop 50,000s ready to roll, or just like the Mars, the Moonwalkers. These guys are ready to chase you down.
Wait, get a picture of me in it.
Jeez, dude.
You could just rent it.
These colorful homes near the Prague Castle were historically used as homes for castle staff, military officers, and nobles who worked closely with the royal court. Back in the day, Prague Castle was not just for royalty. It was a massive political and administrative center, so many people needed to live nearby for their duties. The buildings were often occupied by guards, servants, and minor officials who worked inside the castle complex. Today, most of these well-preserved Baroque-style houses are privately owned and serve as residences, embassies, restaurants, or government offices. Some also function as high-end apartments or cultural institutions. They're not just for show. People actually live and work here, which is why you can see cars parked outside, but no tourist access. Unlike the Golden Lane used inside the castle, which is often open to visitors, these homes are part of one of Prague's most exclusive neighborhoods, offering an incredible view of the city while still being connected to its history.
The castle even has been home to kings, emperors, and even modern day presidents. It's still the official seat of the Czech Republic government today. With palaces, courtyards, gardens, and hidden passageways, the Prague Castle is more than just a historic site. It's a whole world of its own, standing high above the city, watching over Prague for more than 1,000 years.
This is literally a Starbucks, probably with the coolest view in the world. company. This is the St. Vitus Cathedral, the most important church in Czech history and the centerpiece of the Prague Castle. It took nearly 600 years to complete, which is why it blends Gothic, Renaissance, and Baroque styles into one masterpiece. Inside, it holds tombs of Bohemian kings, stunning stained glass by Alphonse Mucha, Oh yeah, we're getting holy. Personally, this is definitely the coolest cathedral that we have been to. Maybe the most fascinating and well done cathedral in the world. I don't know. We love the Gothic architecture, so probably a little biased, but as far as just stained glass alone, this place definitely has set itself apart from every other place that we've seen. Kind of a random thought, but I love, probably everyone else, but the way that, again, the sun comes off of these stained glass windows and reflecting onto the wall. It's so colorful and beautiful. It kind of reminds me as a kid when you're just like playing with the hose, shooting your brother, shooting your dogs with the hose, and you see a rainbow. Good little childhood memories, while also a really beautiful sight.
Check out the ceiling that's behind me. It's actually 108 feet tall and definitely one of the biggest cathedrals that we have seen so far. The Old Royal Palace is one of the oldest parts of the Prague Castle, dating back to over 1,000 years old. We couldn't tell how old it was. It doesn't even look like it's 1,000 years old because it looks fairly recent, and the only way to tell how old it is because of the wood. It is the seat to the Bohemian kings for centuries, and it is home to a Vladislav Hall, a massive space once used for royal banquets, jousting tournaments, and even indoor horse riding. One of the most dramatic moments in history happened here in 1618 when angry nobles threw out 2 Catholic officials out of a window, a moment known as the Defenestration of Prague, which helped start the 30 Years' War. Today, the palace blends Gothic and Renaissance architecture and is still used for official ceremonies, including the election of the Czech president.
What's weird is you cannot even see the stained glass from the outside. It looks like the windows are completely black. I'm not sure if this is a normal thing for churches or it's a specific style here, but I thought that was really cool. I'm more intrigued on the right side of this church, over there. This is really cool too. Again, you can't see the stained glass anywhere. But that over there is so cool and detailed.
This grand hall is definitely giving us some Harry Potter vibes.
One thing I noticed from all these places that we've been to, you can definitely notice the age of a place just by how slanted the steps can be. We saw this in Montmartre in Paris, but yeah, look how like uneven these steps are. These intricate coat of arms paintings in the old royal palace at the Prague Castle represent noble families who shaped Czech history. Each shield belonged to an elite Bohemian family, making their power and influence into the kingdom.
This one with the black horns and red shield belonged to Jan Wojciechowski ze Melhostreets, who held high-ranking positions including roles of forestry and royal service. His name and titles are written below in Old Czech script. These coats of armors weren't just decoration, they were a symbol of status, loyalty, and legacy. If your family crest was up here, you were among the ruling elite in medieval Bohemia. We believe that this is an example of a family tree that was very, very powerful in their day.
Why are the cathedrals, mainly the Gothic cathedrals in Europe that we have seen, and probably just all over the world, a darker color? So, like the St. Vitus in Prague, the darker colors of these Gothic cathedrals come from centuries of weathering and pollution. I guess it's kind of just a boring answer because I thought it was just a specific style. But when these cathedrals were built, their stones were much lighter, usually beige or gray or even white. But over time, exposure to rain, wind, and especially air pollution from coal burning caused layers of grime and soot to build up. So I guess when you look at a cathedral, you can really tell how old it is due to the darker color. Also, the type of stone plays a pretty big role too. Many Gothic cathedrals are made of limestone or sandstone, which are porous and absorb moisture and pollution, creating a natural patina, which is a surface change that comes with aging. In cities with heavy industrial pollution, the effect was even more dramatic, turning some cathedrals nearly black. Like, for example, I guess Hamburg, now that I'm thinking about it, because the Hamburg Cathedral was completely black, and that would make sense due to all the bombing in World War II. So yeah, it's all kind of like connecting in my brain right now. Golden Lane is a tiny cobblestone street lined with small, brightly colored houses that look obviously straight out of a fairy tale. Despite its charm, this lane has a rich history. It was originally built in the late 1500s to house Emperor Rudolph II's castle guards. Later, goldsmiths and other artisans lived in these miniature houses. In fact, the name Gold Lane comes from the goldsmiths who worked here in the 17th century. Legends also tell of royal alchemists pursuing the secret of turning metal into gold along this lane. At the end of Golden Lane, you will find a scary looking tower, which is known as Daliborica Tower, which was used as a prison and torture chamber for centuries.
We just finished the Prague Castle, and honestly, it was a well worth it experience. The tickets are $26 per person, so $52 in total, and you get to see 4 different places inside, and my favorite place that I saw was the cathedral, and I feel like that's very worth it because of the stained glass, how big it is, and just overall how nice it was inside. I mean, every single place we went to inside was pretty cold, but overall, really amazing experience that we had here. You need to spend 4 to 5 hours just walking around because it is the largest castle complex in the world, so you need a long time to spend here to really see everything. There's some cool cars here, amazing buildings. Woodwork here is really cool also. So overall, well worth the experience. I'll give this about probably 9 out of 10. 10 if it was really warm inside the buildings that we went into.
Yo, I just got faded. Come on. I lost my sideburns in the process, but you know how it is, man.
This is Charles Bridge, which is Prague's most famous landmark. If you get a postcard of Prague or go into a souvenir shop, there is a really good chance that you will see this exact bridge at sunset, and that's exactly what I'm doing right now. So this bridge, the Charles Bridge, has been standing for over 650 years. Built in 1357 under Emperor Charles IV, it was designed to be indestructible, so much that medieval builders actually mixed egg yolk into the mortar to make it stronger. Towns across the Bohemia sent thousands of eggs, though some confused villagers sent whole eggs instead of just yolks. The bridge replaced the older Judith Bridge, which was destroyed by a massive flood in 1342. Since then, Charles Bridge has survived floods, wars, and even cannon fire. Lined with 30 Baroque statues, the most famous is St. John's of Nepomuk, who was thrown into the river for refusing to reveal the Queen's secrets. His statue is one of the most touched in Europe.
This is the Powder Tower, and it is one of Prague's most striking landmarks, originally built in 1475 as a ceremonial entrance to the Old Town. It later gained its name when it was repurposed as a gunpowder storage facility, an ironically risky choice for a towering structure. Once a part of the royal